What is going on, guys? Welcome to your 53rd Java tutorial, and this is pretty much a continuation of the 52nd one, and there's probably going to be a 54th one. But just a real quick review. What we did is pretty much already, if you didn't watch 52 for some reason, we just built a window and put 4 things in it. And that's pretty much it. And now what we're going to do is pretty much add some functionality to this. And what we're going to say is, alright, when you enter text in one of those text fields and press enter, what we want to do is pop up another box saying what you entered. Like when a user would type in something and it says like a verification or something. So let's get right to it. Now, what we need to do is, the first thing that we're going to need to do is build an action listener object. So what this means is we have 4 text fields waiting on the screen, and they're pretty much dumb and they don't do anything right now. What we want them to do is to add some brains to them and have them waiting on the screen in listening, it's called. And when you listen, you're pretty much just waiting for an event to happen. So right now they just look pretty. They're not even waiting for anything. So what we want to say is, alright, text boxes, listen for something to happen, and when that happens, we want you to execute a bunch of code. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to build another class to execute the code. But this class, I'm going to build an object for this class before I even build the class. So the class name is going to be the handler, and we're going to get some errors right here, but that's fine. And I'm just going to name my object handler, and this is going to be equals new handler class. And if you're saying, alright, where is this handler class? We didn't build it yet, but I will, we promise. So actually, hold on, new the handler, there we go. And what this does is it pretty much builds an action listener object. So now we're going to make a new class later on that you'll see what this does later. But what we need to do is add this object to each of the items. So item 1, what we need to do is add action listener. And what this takes as an argument is the object we just created. So that's why we need to do that. And the object, you can see it is called handler. So handler, right like that. And we need to do this for each object. So let's go ahead and copy this. Copy and paste. Item 2, item 3, and of course our password, which is password field right there. And add action listener, and this is of course going to take the handler argument again. So now we have an object of the class the handler, which we didn't make yet, but that's what we're going to do right now. So once you let me make sure, here's JFrame, here's the one class, here's where one class ends, or pretty much our constructor. And now here's another thing I'm going to tell you. This pretty much whole thing is our constructor, which is pretty much a method for this tuna class. And you're probably thinking, alright, I'm going to build a new class, I'm going to build it on the outside of this. Well, actually, we're going to build another class, but we're going to build it inside this tuna class. And when you do that, when you build a class inside a class, the class that's inside inherits all the crap from the class that's outside. So that's what we want to do. So let's go ahead and make this private because there's no need to make it public. Class, and I hit insert, class the handler, or whatever you named it right there. And now we see we get a whole bunch of other error messages. Implements action listener, and I spelled there we go. Implements action listener. Now what we want to do is go ahead and build a body for this. And now what we have is our class. And why did we need to name it the handler? Because that's what the object was. And it implements action listener. And what this means is pretty much that this is going to be the class to handle the events. And you'll see why later on, but I know it's confusing right now. But what this action listener class is it takes one method. There's only one method we're going to be building in this class, and that's the method that's going to be called automatically whenever an event occurs. And to do that, type public void, and I know this doesn't make any sense to you right now. It's weird because you kind of have to build the whole program to see what's going on, but I promise by the end of this you'll see what's going on. Action, and you need to name this performed, and as a argument you need to take action event, and then you need to name your variable something like event, like that. And now, as well, let's go ahead and start building the body for this. So what happens in this private class right here is, as soon as an event occurs, whatever happens inside here is gonna handle the event. So let's go ahead and type some stuff to pretty much just add a body to our method. The first thing we're gonna do is build a string variable, and we're just name it string and set it equal to an empty string. And this is gonna be the final string that outputs, but you know, we don't need to worry about that now. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is make pretty much a huge if statement, and you'll see why in a second. The first condition we're going to test if the event, and remember this is like an enter or a click, and in this case it's going to be, if the event is going to be when the when the user presses enter. So if the event equals get source, and the source pretty much means where it happens. If it's equal to item 1, and what this means is pretty much if they clicked enter on text field number 1, then what do we want to do? Well, the first thing we're going to want to do is take that string variable that is empty right now, and we want to set it equal to string format, and we would just use C style formatting, and we're going to want to set this equal to put something like field 1 %s, and put those in quotation marks. So what this is going to output is field 1 with a variable right here, and as our variable what we want to do is put event, and this is get action command. Now this is the last thing in this tutorial that's going to confuse you. What get action command means, after I add my semicolon, is get the text from that location. So if they type in Bucky in field 1 and press enter, what this is going to do is say, alright, your event source, or you hit enter at item number 1. So what I'm going to do is put field 1 equals Bucky, and you'll see why later on. But for now, just follow with me. The next thing we're going to do is build 3 else ifs. So else if, and just go ahead and copy this, paste in event 2, field 2, and we'll get the action command for that. Now let's go ahead and just copy this one more time. Copy. And make sure my cursor's in the right spot. Oh, cool, it's messing up. Cool. And paste. If event get sorts equals from item 3, then we just want to output field 3 equals that. And now what we want to do lastly is put else if, and let's go ahead and put event get source. Alright, if this event occurs on, what do we name it, password field, then what do you want to do? Set the string, why are you messing up, Haas? Set the string equal to string format, and let's just go ahead and do the same thing. The format is let's put password field is %s, and the arguments it takes is of course event get action command right there. So now let me make sure we're good to go. Don't have any errors aside from these. And what error are we getting right here? The method add action layer is undefined, which is we'll worry about that later. And the last thing we're going to want to do, actually I'm running out of time, so I'll do it in the next tutorial. In the next tutorial we will finish everything up. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you then.